Hi, I'm Julia Alison, a 32-year-old pediatric nurse at Memorial Hospital, and I've got quite a story about how my mother-in-law's web of lies about my son led to her ultimate downfall. Let me take you back to where it all began. I met David Carter 5 years ago at a hospital fundraiser. He was this charming software engineer who couldn't stop with his adorably bad medical puns. We clicked instantly, and within a year, we were married. At first, everything seemed perfect, especially with his mother, Patricia. "Julia, darling, welcome to the family. I've always wanted a daughter in the medical field," she'd say, hugging me warmly at every gathering. Looking back, I should have known that smile wasn't all it seemed. Then my son Tommy was born 3 years ago, and things began to change. He was the sweetest baby, but by the time he was 2, we noticed he wasn't talking as much as other kids his age. "Have you thought about getting him evaluated?" my friend Rachel asked during lunch at the hospital. David and I had been considering it. Even he had noticed the subtle delays. That's when Patricia's subtle campaign began. At first, it was just concerned questions about my family history. "David, sweetheart, didn't Julia mention a cousin with learning issues?" I overheard her whisper with false concern one day. Soon, David's sister, Emma, joined in, eager to add fuel to the fire. "Mom's right, David. Maybe we should look into Julia's background more carefully." Thank goodness for David's brother, Michael. He was the only one who saw through their act. "You're being ridiculous, Mom. Tommy's fine. He just needs time." But Patricia was relentless. At Tommy's 3rd birthday, I found her cornering my friend Rachel in the kitchen. "It's such a shame about Tommy, you know. In our family, we've never had developmental issues. It must be so hard for Julia, knowing it's her fault." Rachel, bless her heart, shut her down right there. "Mrs. Carter, as a medical professional, I can assure you that's not how developmental delays work." The tension kept escalating. David tried to play peacekeeper, which only made things worse. "Honey, Mom's just worried about Tommy. Maybe we should look into your family history," he said, avoiding my eyes. "Are you serious?" I shot back. "Your mother's spreading rumors about our son, and you're defending her." But the whispers continued. Every family dinner, Emma would arrive with a fresh study she found online. "Did you know developmental delays can be genetic?" "Julia, didn't you say your aunt had a late talker?" I started documenting everything. Every comment, every whispered conversation, every time Patricia undermined me at Tommy's preschool. Little did they know their perfect plan to pin everything on my defective genes was about to crumble. "Just wait," I told myself each night, watching Tommy sleep. "The truth always comes out." What I didn't realize was just how spectacularly their house of cards would collapse. Things hit a breaking point when Tommy started preschool. I'd noticed other parents whispering, some even glancing my way with pity. "Did you hear? Patricia Carter's daughter-in-law apparently passed on a genetic issue to her son." Poor David, he had such a promising future. Before I married into that family, everything seemed perfect. But one day, things took a dark turn. It was pickup time at Tommy's preschool when his teacher, Miss Johnson, pulled me aside. "Mrs. Allison, some parents have expressed concerns about Tommy being in class with their children." Mrs. Carter mentioned something about a family history of issues. I felt my blood boiling. "What exactly did Mrs. Carter tell you?" "She mentioned developmental disabilities running in your family and suggested it might be contagious." I was livid, but I kept my cool. I started documenting everything. Every backhanded comment, every whispered conversation. With Rachel's help, we kept meticulous records. "This is getting out of hand," Rachel said one afternoon, helping me jot down another incident. "She's literally turning the whole town against you." Things at home weren't much better. David kept making excuses for his mother. "Mom's just old-fashioned Julia. She doesn't understand these things." "David, she's telling people our son is contagious. How are you not furious about this?" But the lies kept spreading. Then came the day I overheard Patricia talking to David when she thought I was at work. "Darling, you need to think about your future. Julia's genetics are clearly compromised. What kind of grandmother would I be if I didn't protect my grandchild? Maybe it's time to consider other options." "Mom, are you suggesting divorce?" David asked, his voice incredulous. "I'm just saying there are plenty of nice girls from good families. Emma knows several who'd be perfect for you." I shook with rage but kept quiet. That same week at family barbecue, Emma worked the crowd. It's just tragic. Tommy might never be normal. And it's all because of Julia's DNA. Patricia even showed me some articles about genetic testing before marriage. Michael, David's brother, tried defending me. Emma stopped spreading lies about Julia. This is getting ridiculous, Emma snapped. We're just concerned about the family's reputation. The final straw came when Patricia announced she was organizing a family intervention. We need to discuss Julia's genetic problems as a family, she declared at Sunday dinner. I've invited the whole family, even Aunt Martha from Ohio. I stood up, my voice shaking with fury. This is insane. You've gone too far. Sit down, Julia, Patricia commanded. This is for your own good. We need to address the damage you've brought to this family. David sat there, looking uncomfortable. Maybe we should hear Mom out. That's when I realized this wasn't just about Tommy anymore. This was about destroying me. Completely. But Patricia had no idea what was coming. For weeks, I'd been quietly making appointments with specialists, and the results were about to change everything. The intervention is next Saturday, Patricia said smugly. I expect everyone to attend. Little did she know, I had my own plans for that day. The day of the intervention turned into Patricia's worst nightmare. She gathered the entire family in our living room when I walked in with Dr. Anderson, Tommy's specialist. Before we start this intervention, I said I have some actual medical results to share. Dr. Anderson cleared her throat. Tommy has been diagnosed with auditory processing disorder. It's completely treatable with proper therapy, and most importantly, it's not genetic. Patricia's face drained of color. Well, that's just one opinion. Actually, I interrupted. I have something interesting to show everyone. I pulled out my phone and started scrolling. These are emails between Patricia and Tommy's speech therapy center. She's been canceling his appointments for months, claiming I was the one calling. The room went silent. David finally spoke, his voice cold and shaking. Mom, you did what? I was protecting our family, Patricia snapped. Julia's clearly unstable. Michael stood up, his voice booming. You mean the grief counselor Julia saw after her father died last year? The same grief counselor you told everyone was a psychiatrist treating her for mental illness. Emma tried to interject, but Michael shot her down. Shut up, Emma. David was scrolling through the emails on my phone, his hands trembling. You deliberately prevented my son from getting help. Your own grandson. David, honey, you don't understand, Patricia started. No, Mom, I understand perfectly now. David turned to me, his eyes filled with regret. Julia, I'm so sorry. I should have believed you then. Michael dropped another bombshell. This isn't the first time, is it, Mom? Should we tell everyone about Karen? Patricia went pale. Michael, don't you dare. Karen was Michael's wife who had mysteriously left town after Patricia spread rumors about her having a secret drug problem. Which was, of course, a lie. And Jessica, before that, Michael added, Dad's first wife, the one who supposedly had a gambling addiction. The room went silent as decades of Patricia's manipulation came crashing down. I didn't just sit there, I kept going. I have statements from Tommy's doctors, I said, handing out papers. These confirm his condition is developmental, not genetic. And I also have evidence of every lie Patricia has spread, every appointment she's canceled, and every rumor she's started. Patricia tried one last desperate defense. Everything I did was for this family. David's voice rang out, firm and final. No, Mom. Everything you did was to control this family, and it stops now. I watched as Patricia's carefully constructed web of lies unraveled. Family members began checking their phones, finding evidence of Patricia's manipulation in old texts and emails. It was all coming out. I've already enrolled Tommy in a specialized program, I announced, my voice steady. Without telling Patricia, of course, so she couldn't interfere. His teachers say he's making amazing progress. As the family meeting dissolved into chaos, with everyone comparing notes about the decades of lies, I quietly packed a bag. David followed me upstairs. Where are you going? He asked. I got my own place last week. Tommy and I need time away from all of this. You're welcome to visit him, but first you need to decide your mother's lies or your son's well-being. I walked out, leaving Patricia to face the consequences of her actions. But that wasn't the end of her downfall, not by a long shot. 3 months after moving out, Tommy was thriving in his new school. His auditory processing therapy was working wonders, and he was finally catching up with his peers. "Mommy, I got a gold star today." Tommy beamed, showing me his worksheet. That's when my phone buzzed. Another desperate voicemail from Patricia. I deleted it without listening. She'd been trying to reach me ever since her social circle started crumbling. "Did you hear?" Rachel texted me. "Emma just got fired from her firm." The charity scandal hit the morning news. Michael called next. "Julia, you won't believe this. While they were investigating Emma, they found evidence that Mom's been manipulating Dad's trust fund for years. She's been stealing from her own children." I was too busy with my own success to care. The hospital had just promoted me to head nurse of the pediatric unit. "You deserve it," David said when he came to pick up Tommy for his weekend visit. "By the way, I filed for divorce." Mom's finally showing her true colors to everyone. Patricia's desperation reached new levels when she lost her position as head of the garden club. Apparently, her friends didn't appreciate finding out their confidential conversations had been twisted and spread around town for years. "Please, Julia," Patricia cornered me outside Tommy's school one day, her voice dripping with desperation. "I'm your family. You have to forgive me." "No, Patricia. I don't have to do anything." I took Tommy's hand. "Let's go. We have your school performance to prepare for." I hugged my son tight as we walked away. Watching Patricia retreat, I realized she had lost everything: her social status, her control over her family, even her country club membership. Emma was facing fraud charges, and Michael had made sure everyone knew about the trust fund manipulation. "Ready to go home, buddy?" I asked Tommy. "Yes. Can we get ice cream?" As we walked to the car, I saw Patricia sitting alone in her luxury car, watching us. I didn't feel anger anymore. Just pity. She had built her life on destroying others, and now she had nothing. We drove away, leaving Patricia in our rearview mirror, exactly where toxic people belong. The story has come to an end. Now I have a question for you. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you thought was family? What hurts more, the actual betrayal or watching your spouse stand by silently while their parent destroys your reputation? Let me know in the comments if you've ever had to choose between saving yourself or waiting for others to finally see the truth. Would you have waited as long as I did? Drop your story below, and if you want more real stories about surviving toxic family members and coming out stronger, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Sometimes the best revenge is thriving without them.